Hi, I'm Robin from the Female Fitness Academy, pre and postnatal exercise specialist and injury rehabilitation therapist. I am also a mum to 3 girls myself, and I work with women to help them to maintain or regain their stamina and strength during pregnancy or after birth. This workout that I'm going to take you through next is aimed to help you to maintain your posture, maintain the strength and function of your core and pelvic floor, and improve your stamina ready for the challenges of birth. You're not going to need any equipment apart from a mat and a resistance band. Now the resistance band is only optional. You could use an old pair of stretchy tights, and we only use it for one exercise. You also will need to grab a cushion, just a pillow or a sofa cushion, a small sofa cushion to put between your knees for one of the exercises. Make sure you've had the all clearance from your midwife to commence a pregnancy exercise program. All of the exercises that we do are safe and effective, and they're low impact, so they're nice and gentle on the joints and the pelvic floor. Listen to your body and take it at your own pace. There are options to take some of the exercises down to an easier level if need be. Make sure you're well hydrated and you've had something to eat today. Okay, let's get going. Okay, let's start with a full body mobility warm-up. Start with your feet hip width apart, your shoulders relaxed away from your ears, and your shoulder blades, imagine that you are tucking them in your back pocket. I'm turning my head from side to side, keeping my shoulders back and down at all times. And then I'm going to roll the head, bringing the chin to the chest, rolling from left to right shoulder. Feeling a gentle stretch down the sides of the neck. We're now going to begin rolling the shoulders back and down, up towards the ears, and then rolling them back and down. We're going to increase the movement now by bringing the fingertips to the shoulders and circling the elbows backwards. Keep the chin tucked in, and then gently roll the shoulders back as if windmilling the arms, aiming to keep the hips facing forward at all times. Let's move on to a breaststroke type movement that will help to open up the chest. Big strokes. Okay, bring the feet together now, and we're going to stretch up and over, lengthening through the spine. Big exhalation as we reach. Imagine someone's pulling that hand up and over the top of your body. Feel a nice stretch down the side of your body. Hold on to a supportive object like the back of a chair or a wall, and we're going to slowly bring the knees into the chest. If you don't need support, then that's great. You can move away, but it's absolutely fine if you feel you need it at this stage. Imagine bringing the hip bone towards the chest as you exhale each time. Holding onto that support, we're going to circle the leg out to the side. So engage the abdominals by wrapping the abdominals around the spine and bringing the knee up and out. Change the direction, bringing the knee into the body now, keeping those hips facing forward as best as you can at all times. Change legs. And then slowly change direction, bringing the knee in towards the midline. Okay, great. Let's move back into a space. Feet just a little wider than the shoulders. We're going to move on to pelvic circles. So we're going to push the hips as far back as we can and then bring them forward and change directions each time. Moving to the end of your mat now, we're going to roll down halfway to begin with by tucking the chin to the chest and rolling down slowly each segment of the spine. We're going to roll back up, inhale at the top, exhale, tuck the chin, abdominals wrapped, and roll down the spine. Inhale at the top, exhale, belly button towards the spine, Okay, this time we're going to come down and we're going to bring ourselves to the mat. So you're going to bend the knees gently and walk out into a box position. Knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. Take the right hand and feed it underneath the left. We're working on mobility of the thoracic spine here, alternating sides each time, breathing out as we rotate. You can go as low as feels comfortable for you. Now we're going to come up onto our knees and we're going to take the left foot forward into a kneeling lunge position. And we're going to slowly rock forward and back, keeping control at all times and just going as low as you feel comfortable. Keep that front knee tracking in line with the toes and change legs. Try to avoid overarching the lower back and keep the pelvis in a neutral position. Exhaling as we lean forward. This is working on our hip and ankle mobility. Back into box position. You can spread your fingers wide or you can go into a fist position on your knuckles if it feels better for your wrist. We're going to inhale and relax the shoulders, and then we're going to exhale and push away from the floor, keeping the elbows straight at all times. And I want you to imagine that you're wrapping your shoulder blades around the sides of your body. Inhale, relax. Exhale, push away, keeping the arms straight at all times. We're not bending those elbows. The only thing that should be moving here is our shoulder girdle. Our pelvis and our spine should remain in a neutral position. Exhale, push away. Inhale and relax. Well done. We're now going to move on to pelvic tilts. Inhale and let the pelvic floor and the abdominals relax. And then as we exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, pelvic floor, abdominals relax. Exhale, engage those abdominals, lift the pelvic floor and tuck the tailbone under. So imagine you're bringing your hip bones towards your rib cage. We are working on pelvic mobility here, and what we want to avoid is rounding the upper back. It is only the pelvis that should be rocking back and forth here. Exhale, tilt that pelvis. Inhale, back into a neutral position. Tucking the toes under and slowly rolling up each segment of the spine, keeping the abdominals wrapped and the head coming up last until you are back in a standing position. You're then going to take your front leg forward, keeping the leg straight and bending the back leg, pushing the hips back away from the hands and stretching out through the back of the hamstring. Bring your feet just a little wider than shoulder width, and we're going to start some shallow squats. So only go as low as you feel comfortable. Keep the knees tracking in line with the toes, and if you need to, use some support like the back of a chair to hold on to, or you can sit back and down onto a chair each time. Holding onto the support, we're going to work on some ankle mobility, circling the foot outwards. If it hurts for you to stand on one leg for a long period, you can sit down to do this exercise as well. Change legs, first circling out and then slowly circling the other way. Well done! That's the warm-up complete. The first exercise in our circuit is a low impact cardio drill. This is called side step swimmer. Now watch the demonstration and then join in with me. I'm stepping to the side at the same time as doing breaststroke arms. Notice how I've just shown you two alternatives. One is where we bend the knees in a type of squat kind of movement as we bend to the side, and one I'm staying tall like I am here. I step, tap, and open up the arms in that breaststroke movement. It's a great exercise as it brings the heart rate up safely with low impact on the pelvic floor and joints, and it also opens up the chest. Okay, when you're ready, begin with me if you haven't already. Remember your options. You can step side to side with a small bend in the knee. You can come lower than this into a partial squat between each step, like so, or you can stay high and take it easy. Go at your own pace, as slowly or as quickly as you feel able to. Keep going. Just a few more seconds and stop. Okay, the next exercise is a lunge with a band pull apart. Watch me first and learn the technique well. We're going to keep this slow and controlled, inhaling to prepare, and then exhaling, lifting pelvic floor, wrapping those abdominals, and pulling the band apart with a straight arm as we step back into a reverse lunge. Notice how I keep my front knee tracking in line with the toes. I bend both knees, and I try and keep the weight equal across the front and back foot. I am inhaling here and then exhaling here. A good tip is to make an S sound like a snake as you exhale. So your exhale will sound like this. This will help you engage with your core muscles. Join along with me. Inhale and prepare. Exhale as you step back and open the band. Inhale here. Exhale here. Well done. If this is too difficult, you can always hold on to a base of support like the back of the chair and separate the two movements. First performing the reverse lunge, then pausing the video and performing a set of 10 band pull-aparts. Okay, as you watch this demonstration, I'd like you to slowly bring yourself down to the floor in your own time into a box position. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, with a small gap between the knees. This exercise is called box arm reaches, and it's a brilliant exercise to strengthen the core and pelvic floor muscles. We inhale and prepare, allowing the belly and the pelvic floor to relax. And then as we lift the arm forward, we lift the pelvic floor, wrap the abdominals, and perform an S breath. Inhale, relax, exhale. I'd like you to perform this exercise in your own time. Join in with me. What you'll notice as I perform this exercise is I'm trying to aim to keep the pelvis and the spine in a neutral position. So as I lift the arm, I'm trying to avoid overarching the lower back, flaring the ribs, or tucking the tailbone too far underneath the body. I inhale, relax the belly, and exhale, pelvic floor lifts, abdominals engage, and we reach. Keep going. If this is sore on the wrist at any time, you can go into fist position on your knuckles instead. 2 more reps. Remembering your S breath as you engage those abdominals, and stop. Okay, in your own time, come up slowly from the floor and watch this demonstration of the next cardio drill. This exercise is great for getting the heart rate up whilst being gentle on the pelvic floor and the joints. Notice how I am not lifting the knees high. I am barely moving the feet off the ground. I am shifting the weight from one foot to the other, just lifting through the heels. Okay, join in with me. Small bend in the knee and hip. You have 3 options. Your hands can be in front of your chest. You can move them up behind the head, or you can move them up into the air, keeping your shoulder blades back and down. This is the hardest version, so do what feels right for you. You can even hold a chair for support if you need to make it a little easier. Well done, let's move on to the next exercise. Again, as always, watch me first and then join in when you can. We're going into squat to full extension. Now you can slow this right down, stay at the speed I'm going, or increase the speed if you are very fit and used to doing this exercise. You can also make it easier by taking the arms away and just performing bodyweight squats or holding onto the back of a chair for support. Notice how I'm sinking back and down, bending at the hip and knee, but I'm keeping the shoulders pulled down and away from my ears. Exhale as you lift up and right onto the toes, and inhale as you come down, making sure that you're wrapping the abdominals at all times. Okay, join in with me if you haven't already. Remember to lift pelvic floor and wrap the abdominals as you come down into the squat and perform a big exhalation, possibly using the S breath if it helps you as you lift up into extension. You can take away the heel lift if you like, and you can also sit back onto a chair and then stand back up again to make it a lot easier if you need to. Keep going, just a few more reps. Inhale and exhale. Well done. Okay, slowly bring yourself down onto the floor. Lower onto your back from a sideways position so you don't stress your abdominals, and we're going to perform the glute bridge. It is safe to lie on our back if we're bringing the hips up and down, so don't worry about that. Watch me first and then join in when you can. I start on my back with my feet flat on the floor, knees hip-width apart. I breathe in to prepare, allowing my pelvic floor and abdominals to relax, and then I tilt my pelvis, flattening my back into the floor and performing an S exhalation breath as I lift my hips towards the sky. Join in when you can. Notice how I flatten the back before I lift the hips. This allows my pelvis to stay in a neutral position as I lift up, so my body ends up in a straight line from knee to shoulder. What you want to avoid doing is overarching through the lower back or flaring the rib cage. Keep your chin slightly tucked into your chest and remember to exhale using that S breath as you lift up, engaging that pelvic floor and the core all the time. Keep going, squeezing the glutes at the top of the movement and driving through the heels. Just a few more reps. This one keeps the glutes and the pelvic floor and core nice and strong. Okay, now we're going to move on to the core knee squeeze. Again, in your own time, slowly bring yourself up into an inclined position, resting on your elbows. Watch me first and then join in when you can. You'll notice I have a block between my knees. You can use a cushion or a pillow. My feet are flat on the floor, knees are bent, and my chin is tucked into my chest. I inhale and let the pelvic floor and abdominals relax. Then as I exhale, I'm going to perform an S breath again as I gently lift the pelvic floor, wrap the abdominals towards the spine as if I'm bringing the two sides of my hip bones together, engaging the transverse abdominis, and squeeze on the cushion or pillow. I'm going to hold the squeeze for the whole S breath out, and then inhale and relax and repeat. The core cushion squeeze is an excellent exercise to keep the inner thighs, the pelvic floor, and the lower abdominals nice and strong. Remember to inhale and relax, and then exhale and an S breath as you gently engage that pelvic floor, lower abdominals, and squeeze on the pillow at the same time. Keep going. We have just a few more reps. Make sure you are doing this in time with your own breathing. Hold that squeeze for the whole breath out. Okay, well done. That is the full circuit complete. You can either take a water break here and then rewind and perform the circuit again, depending on your level of fitness and your stage of pregnancy, or you can move on to the cool down with me now. If you are moving on to the cool down, I'd like you to bring yourself slowly down onto the mat and into a comfortable seated position. You can have your legs out bent in front of you or cross-legged. I'm sat up on my sit bones, I'm relaxing my shoulders away from the ears here, and I have my hands placed on my lower ribs. And we're going to be performing some deep breathing with engagement of the pelvic floor and core. Watch the demonstration first and then join in with me. Notice how I've placed my hands on my lower rib cage so I can feel my ribs expanding as I inhale. What I want you to try and concentrate on is, rather than letting the chest lift, I want you to expand the rib cage to the sideways as you take a breath in, at the same time as gently relaxing the lower abdomen and the muscles of the pelvic floor. Relaxing the pelvic floor is just as important as engaging and lifting that pelvic floor. So we inhale, we feel the rib cage expand to the side, relax the belly and the pelvic floor muscles. And then as we exhale, I want you to perform that S breath that we used in the workout. So, hands on the lower ribs, keep the shoulders relaxed, inhale, feel the rib cage open to the sides, pelvic floor and lower abdomen relax. And then exhale with the S breath as you draw the pelvic floor up. Imagine the two hip bones moving towards one another and the belly button coming in towards the spine. And hold that engagement for the whole exhalation. This exercise will both strengthen the core and pelvic floor as well as relaxing the mind through deep breathing. You can practice this breathing at any point during your day, and you will strengthen both the pelvic floor, the core, and relax your mind when needed. Remember that relaxation of your pelvic floor is just as important as the lift. Inhale and relax that pelvic floor. Imagine it blossoming like a flower and the perineum area relaxing down towards the floor below. As you lift the pelvic floor, a good visualization to use is imagining that you're picking up a blueberry with your vagina. You don't want to over-engage the muscles around like the inner thighs or the glutes. You just want to gently lift the pelvic floor. So don't squash your blueberry, just gently lift it up into the body. Okay, let's move on to stretching out the rest of the body. We're going to take the right ear to the right shoulder and then the left ear to the left shoulder, feeling a gentle stretch down the side of the neck. You can continue to deep breathe throughout these stretches. You can even continue to use the S breath if that helps you to relax. Notice how I'm rotating through the spine, engaging my abdominals as I rotate. Only do what feels good for you and never overstretch or do anything that doesn't feel quite right. Okay, now take your right leg out straight and the sole of your left foot onto the inner thigh. Place your right elbow on the leg and reach up and over, keeping your chest open. Come back up slowly and then exhale and gently lean back over. Imagine someone's lifting you up and over. Okay, we're going to switch legs, the left leg out straight, left elbow on the leg, open up through the chest and then reach over. Feeling a lovely stretch down the side of the body. Come out of the stretch and then gently back into it. Remembering to breathe out deeply, using that S breath if you like. We're then going to turn into a box position, knees underneath each hip, hand underneath the shoulders. Notice how I've brought my toes together. If your bump is rather large now, you can open the knees a little bit wider, and I'm sitting back into a child pose position. I'm then going to bend the elbows and bring my hands behind my head and clasp my fingers together, feeling a stretch across the triceps and the shoulders. slowly come up into box and then take one leg straight behind you, gently pressing the heel down to stretch the calf into the floor. Change legs, continuing to breathe deeply. Okay, excellent. Slowly come up onto your knees. Take your left leg forward into a kneeling lunge position. Notice how I tuck my pelvis under, tucking my tailbone between my legs, and I should feel a stretch on the right hip. I'm lifting my right arm up and then rotating over the left leg. Now, only attempt this next part of the stretch if you feel able to and if you have the balance. I'm grabbing the toes of my back foot and bringing my heel towards my bottom. If this feels too much for you, then just stay in the kneeling hip flexor stretch. Right leg forward, tuck the tailbone and rotate. Again, you can just stay here or you can attempt to grab the toes of the back leg. But if this feels too much on your lower back or your thigh or knee, then skip this stretch. Okay, we're going to come slowly round and onto our bottom now. Okay, I'm going to bend both knees slightly. I'm going to take my right leg over my left, pressing out on the right knee and feeling a stretch on the outer hip. Breathe deeply and only do what feels good for you. Now take that right leg over a stretched left leg and rotate over towards the left. If your bump is getting big, you can use your hand instead of your elbow to draw the knee into the body. Change legs. Left ankle over the left knee, pressing out on that left knee. Well done. Now straighten the right leg, left leg over, and then rotate over towards the left, pulling the left knee in towards the midline. Okay, we're going to come back into box, tuck the toes under, and slowly roll up through the spine, section by section, keeping the chin in and the head coming up last. We're going to hold the wall for support or the back of a chair, straighten the left leg and bend the back knee. Push the hips back, feeling a stretch down the hamstring. Continue to breathe deeply. We're now going to a standing quad, so keep using that support and bring one heel up towards the bottom. Make sure the knees stay together and try and tuck the tailbone as you do this stretch, and you'll feel that increase on the front of the thigh. It's really important to do this stretch, especially if you couldn't grab your toes in the kneeling hip flexor stretch. The quads often become very tight in pregnancy, so we need to make sure we are doing this stretch regularly. Okay, bring your feet together, bend the knees, big breath in as we reach up and a big breath out as we come down. In as you come up and out as you come down. We are performing this movement with the breathing to revitalise the body at the end of this workout. Your workout is now complete. Make sure you take a drink after you've finished and you eat within the hour. Leave a day between performing this workout again and try and perform the workout 2 to 3 times per week. A huge well done to you all, and I really hope you enjoyed working out with me today. I would absolutely love it if this workout helps you feel strong and capable and gives you a boost of those feel-good hormones.